Hello. Hope you can hear me. How's everyone doing tonight? It seems as though we've got old man Kenny G. Hey, Greg. Hey, Ed. Thanks for being here. Charlton, how are you? Charlton, not so much. Not at this hour. The sun's not shining right now. Hey, Teresa. Hey, everyone. Thanks for being here. I was going to put that this is a Sunday night booze schmooze with the Buffalo Naval Park, but I didn't want to put the word booze. So, yeah, I'm here to answer questions. Sorry about tonight's video. I'll explain that in a little bit. And again, hopefully you guys can hear me all right. So tonight's video was going to be about what was called the Bison Shipbuilding Company. Hey, Cam. So the Bison Shipbuilding Company, I won't give too much away because I'm going to be doing a video about it. But I was actually outside on a little island where this company was, emergency builders program for World War II. And I get the video back and I look at it and it's just all crap because the wind was so loud. They're just full on sentences that you can't hear. So I have to refilm it, and it just didn't work out with the timing to have it done for tonight. So hope you don't mind. But I thought this was a good way of staying connected and talking. Hey, everyone, saying hello to each other. That's great. We have such a nice group of fans and viewers and subscribers and members. So I just want to thank you for all of that. Again, I hope I'm coming in clear for the Sunday night schmooze, maybe. And so I'm here to, hey, Hoist, hey, CC. I'm here to answer any questions if you guys got them, or thoughts or comments. Your support has really been appreciated. We've seen a great increase in viewership. It seems as though I've gotten a few comments about how people have really enjoyed the videos, and I just want to thank you for all that. Yeah, okay. Hoist says, love seeing the Jeremiah O'Brien a couple nights ago. Yep. Hey, thanks. I'm sure you were out there. You crisscross around the country, and happy to wear the hat. Thanks so much for your support with that. So I'm here for questions. Throw them out there if you've got them. What we seem to have left is I'm hopeful we'll be doing the Pier 70 video. I know we've talked about that for a while. So that will be coming out. I do have a live session on Wednesday night with the executive director of the Perry shipyard, which is the one trying to get the Halliburton. So from a video a long time ago, so it seems, about the museum ship in Erie, Pennsylvania, I'll be talking to the executive director of that organization. I might have the Kroer Bridge to do, and there's a few others that we just got backed up. It's been a really stressful week at work. This past week, there's been a lot going on with work and then also with personnel. So, yeah, we just kind of all had to shift around our duties a little bit for a few days. Well, you're welcome, Teresa. Yeah, thanks for your support. I try to bring information. I'm really at wit's end. Not wit's end, guys, and gals. But it's tough because I work every evening, and I know it's just watching the premiere with you guys and then answering comments and questions, things like that. And so I've put in some hours at night too. Is there an update on the Periscope for the Kroer? Great question. Thanks, Hoist. So there might be an update. The one big acquisition that I was able to secure last year was another Taos missile from South Bend. Concurrently with that time, I was spoke to people about the Kroer Periscope, and they seemed to confirm that it was cut in, say, 86, 87 in Groton, Connecticut, and just laid against a fence for a restaurant. And some people confirmed that. And Stephen and I were like, all right, I guess we're ready to roll and get to Groton and pick up the what is it, 2,000 pounds, something like that, and bring it back here. Then probably around October, November, we had someone else scope it out in Groton, and they seemed to think that it was cut in half. And therefore, the optics part was cut away, and it was just, say, the lower half of the Periscope, and that really deflated my enthusiasm. I would still like to go out there, but it's now not something that I'm like, we got to do this, we got to do that. So he scoped it out. The periscopes are about 40 feet long. He said about 20 feet are missing, and he believes it's the optics part. All right, so the part that is actually breaks the surface of the water, and that's the part I was looking for. We do have a periscope at the Naval Park. What I ultimately wanted to do was to get it mounted, cut the Kroer one in half, get it mounted, painted up, camouflaged, and then actually have it mounted from the conning tower. So there's still a possibility. I just need to do a little more research into what this periscope is that we have. And cheers to that. So let's see here. Okay, thank you. CC has a question about the collection displays have been updated. Well, I've done a few videos on that. CC, thank you. The radio room with the Rush Fly By Night album. I'm really excited about that. So that will be on display. I purchased a lot of fake food this year. So on port side galley at the enlisted mess deck, as people walk through, you're going to see some hamburgers and hot dogs and lettuce and tomatoes. So that is a nice little thing with that. The big one is the ship's store. So we configured the ship's store again when the ship was in service. So I've purchased a lot of materials for that, games, like cologne and, razor blades and things like that for the store and getting that displayed. So all of that's on the Little Rock. For the Kroer, unfortunately, we did a video maybe last week, and we had in loving memory, Jim passed away, who was the Kroer caretaker. He and I were very close, and he was one of the few people that really welcomed me when I started. I've built a lot of relationships in the 6 years that I've been there. But right in the very beginning, there were a lot of people that said, what is Shane doing working here? All right. Again, I wasn't in the service, wasn't in the Navy, but I was an archivist and a librarian. And so that's why I was hired. But Jim really welcomed me. He understood what I was hired to do. And I really enjoyed learning about his experiences and for what he told. So he got cancer, more than likely Agent Orange, that finally reared its head. And so he passed away 2 Fridays ago. I went to visit him that day. I went to visit his body, and then they did a ceremony at the VA where they wheeled his body out, draped in a flag, and they had other veterans saluting as he was wheeled down to the morgue. So, boy, how did I get on that? Anyway, so for the Kroer, haven't done as much work on the Kroer because he hasn't been around. So Uh, Greg, the progress on dry docking. No, we are pushing as hard as we can. Okay, so that is. I'm sorry, that didn't. I didn't want that to sound aggressive, but uh, we're pushing as hard as we can. Uh, we again are about anywhere from 12 to 14 million dollars short because of about the $7 million, and it goes up every year. The $6 or $7 million that it will take just to even get her out of the nesting position. So we have $8.5 million, probably up to nine. We have been continuing to get donations, but that means we are quite short. We're also working a secondary plan where the Kroer could go at the same time, and then that boosts that funding source. So we have put together a package for the governor of New York, the city of Buffalo, the county executive of Erie County, and we are bringing in donors that we would like to make presentations for. So we're doing that in April. And so we're hopeful with these packages. We said we will contribute this. If the city of Buffalo can contribute this, the county of Erie can do this, the New York State can do this, then we'll reach the goal. So that's what it is. Right now, we have that survivability plan in place that the crew is working very diligently towards, and we're monitoring every day. Currently, we're getting some asbestos removed, which is a good thing, from two areas, especially the one area that will be on the tour route. So we're having some asbestos abated. And of course, now the 4 engineering spaces are heated, flooding alarms, pumps at the ready. We had some cleaning done down there to get rid of some of the residual oil from the sinking. And they're beginning to seal some spots up on the inside with a 2-part epoxy. So we're doing as best we can. And the winter wasn't that bad. So knock on wood. Any possibility the PT boat might be open for tours someday? Thanks, Joe. Yes. The PTF won't be currently open for interior tour, but for my curator tour this year, we're doing a deck tour. So that's not been done before, if ever, or maybe in a long time. So on the curator tour, I usually try to retool it every year, as certainly I get more information and I learn more. So the PTF will just be a stop on the curator tour officially this year. And that means the ladder going up to the deck, and then I'll give explanations. The interior is not ready to be shown, and it's pretty tight down there. So if I have a curator tour of 10, 11 people, it's, certainly going from cruise berthing into the radio space, into the motor room. It's pretty tight. So we'll have to make adjustments there. But for now, at least people will be able to get inside the fence, so to speak, and up to the main deck. Make Stephen host some of these chats too. We love him too. Yes. Stephen has a different situation. He's got a wife and kids. And so sometimes he's just busy at night, especially with school and, sports for his two boys, things like that. But I'll pass the word along, hoist. Bummer about the Periscope. Absolutely. I was a little upset about that. Any update on the Taos? Thank you, Teresa. It's ready to roll. Great group of people, as you know. In probably, what was that, October, November. So the missile itself has been cleaned and wrapped. All right, cling wrapped. Shrink wrapped, I guess I should say. The booster has been scraped, all right, and primed, and then it was painted and also shrink wrapped. So they are both sitting in storage, ready to come hopefully in April or so. We are doing a big thing in April for the eclipse. All right. So Buffalo is in the zone of totality. So on our website, you can spend the night. You can use our Little Rock observation deck and the fantail to watch the eclipse. And so there's packages that you can see on our website if you'd be interested in coming. There was an article in the Washington Post today, though, that I found interesting that said Buffalo usually on that particular day is about a 56% chance of clouds. So we have a lot of people coming already just to Buffalo in general. And we are opening the Little Rock for an observation platform that people can watch. So I'm hopeful the clouds break, but even still, it will be pitch black for, what is it, 3.5 or 4 minutes. So even if it's cloudy, it's pitch black now. So it will still be pitch black for those 3.5 minutes. Location of dry docking. We don't think we got any headway with the federal government on dry docking in Canada. All right. So we were talking about maybe going up the Welland Canal to St. Catharines. That appears, from my knowledge, that appears DOA. So other staff might have other information more than or better than I do. But from what I've heard and the way I hear people talk, it seems as though it's not going to be possible to use that funding for Canadian. So it will probably be Don John in Erie. But I'm not saying that officially. Make sure you look at this week's model. I think at the end of the week, look nasty. Cam, make sure you look at this week's model. I think the end of the week looks nasty. Oh, for weather. Is that what you mean, Cam? Okay, thank you. It took me a second. When I hear model, I automatically think of going to, like a ship's model, something like that. But yeah, maybe. It's been super nice. I'm still waiting for another kind of snowfall before spring comes. So, okay. So Robert Young asks if anything's been done to get the USS Buffalo home. One of my first large things that I did when I started was I secured the ballast control panel, the ship control panel, the 2 seats, chicken switches, a toilet, all from SSN 715. And the goal is still to make a USS Buffalo / Los Angeles class exhibit. All of our funding is, whatever we do get in funding and receive gracefully in funding will be going towards the Sullivan. So that we still have a lot of the parts. The sail, we don't know yet. The rudder, I don't know. We do have USS Boston sail 703. So we probably won't attempt to secure the sail. We still have the Sullivan props. All right. Those are in Niagara Falls, or, a company in Niagara County, just north of here. And get those bronzed up, and we can put those on display as well. Hi, Mike. You're late. Right, 500 times I will not be late. All right, Frank, let's see. I went with a lady whose first husband went by Agent Orange, Army guy. Live near Jacksonville, Arkansas. How much of it is made? Yes, thank you, Frank. Jim was very quiet about his where his cancer was located, but I believe it was in the bladder, in that area. I think it was bladder, but I'm not too sure. He would just say that he has cancer, so he never, and I didn't ask, but I believe it was down in that area and maybe from the drinking water then. Do the eclipse on but Little Rock, Arkansas is dead center of the eclipse via Star Talk. Okay, so people can come to the USS Little Rock or head down to Little Rock, Arkansas, and both be in the dark for a few minutes during the day. I think it arrives at about 3:15, 3:18, maybe 3:05, something. Are there any tours in Florida? I'm going to be down there in March. I have not been to Florida in terms of military or maritime things. Maybe others. I'm sure there's Jacksonville. I think there was a new boat that just became a museum ship in Florida. Sorry, it's hard to keep up, but maybe there's, Pensacola probably has an air museum. There is a museum in Jacksonville, but I think I just can't remember the darn name of the ship. It just is lost. Oh, USS Orlick. Thank you. Yep, in Jacksonville, Florida. That's it. That's one of the newer ones that joined the museum fleet. American Victory is in Tampa. That's a victory ship. Thanks, guys. That's awesome. So, yeah. So again, today's video, I was really excited about it. I was off campus, but the wind just cut out full paragraphs of my talking. So Steve, I let Steven know we're going to go back with a little microphone. And that's a really cool story. And hope you guys enjoy. And thanks for your support. We got about 28 people on right now. That's awesome. Booze schmooze. All right. Mayport, Florida. Oh, thanks, Hoist. Appreciate it. Gosh darn Buffalo weather. Well, it's been amazingly dry this winter. We had that snowstorm of about 2 feet in early January, maybe, and that was really about it. Other than that, it hasn't even snowed, really. So when I say it's been a dry winter, that's what I mean. It's just like a drought. We don't, just like people don't get rain, we don't get snow. It's been very odd. The Lake Erie did not freeze over. The Buffalo River froze for maybe 3-4 days. So we've got our bubblers in there, and we just didn't really, I mean, they've been on 24/7, but they're not even really doing very much. Yeah, Western New York has been very quiet. So have you guys, do you guys have a favorite video from 29 and 29? I know what got the most views, but that's the whole YouTube algorithm thing. It kind of grabs a video and says, let's go right up the elevator. And that was the museum ship in Erie. But did you guys have one that, or do you have other ideas for videos? I've been really, as you see, a lot of them are the PowerPoints, right? Because I kind of have expanded out of just like going to a compartment and just doing that. Like for me personally, I've gotten a lot more interested just in the growth of the Navy and things like that myself. That's why I've been reading the Ernest J. King, the 3 reports from World War II, books like The Admirals, kind of expanding out to the whole Navy, the building programs. And so I've been talking a lot about those things, and like the flagship video, like why did the ship characteristic board make these decisions? So it's kind of expanded out a little bit from our 3 vessels or 4 vessels. But hopefully you guys have been getting a little bit here and there of me going to compartments and things like that. So, yeah, any thoughts? Tim from the Kid was a good video. Great. Thank you very much. Teresa, thank you for the Taos Terrier and Tartar. Yeah, Tim is good. Tim's a really great guy. And I would go into battle with him. He knows what he's talking about. He's been doing it for many years. He himself has had really wonderful mentors that have taught him. And so paying it forward, institutional knowledge, and now he's training the younger generation. And I think we have him on in March for his battle wound that he received on USS Kidd. Thanks, Charlton, for liking the Fram video. You like the technical naval talk. I'm trying to upscale myself for that. And I've been enjoying that. It takes a long time. If you watch Paul from the COD, he's been involved in the boat for 45 years. If you watch Ryan from the New Jersey, he's been in this world for 20 years. I'm starting my 6th year next month, and I knew zero about the Navy or ships, right? I wasn't, as maybe you guys have heard me say before, I wasn't really a modeler growing up. I always loved history, but I was into like Roman history and ancient history and prehistory and things like that. So when I was growing up, that's what I really kind of focused on. And the growth of cities and urban areas. I love that stuff too. And industry, of course. Uh, Spent a lot of your Navy time in shipyards. Fabulous. I'd love to go up to Bath. I don't think you can take a tour there, but you can take a boat ride around it, maybe. Uh, Oddly enough, this would have been great if things would have worked out. My stepfather, right, was a Marine, but he comes from a family where everyone served, except the one daughter, except for my stepfather's sister. But my step grandfather, for lack of a better phrase, my grandfather, he served on the USS Texas in World War II, and then he was a barber. So he was a barber here in Buffalo for 50 years, and he did it up until he died. Uh, but my stepfather's brother was the superintendent of ships for 12 years at Bath Iron Works. And I wish that kind of connected where I was working here at the time, because it would have been a great connection. And now he consults in Washington, D.C., and retired. So that, now ex post facto, I try to pick his brain about things, but, he constructing Arleigh Burke after Arleigh Burke after Arleigh Burke. So, do you have someone to fill the shoes of the Kroer caretaker? Thanks, Gregory. We do. We have been interviewing people because we knew the end was coming for Jim. And so we have a gentleman now. I don't want to pre-release it, but we do have someone who was a submariner and is part of the USS VI Buffalo base. So part of the United States Submarine Veteran Organization here in the Buffalo base. Yeah, ships do get in your blood. That's for sure. And you leave a lot of blood on board. So when people say, oh, yeah, I have blood, sweat, and tears, all of it, all right, at varying times for various reasons as well. So I do not currently, Lucas asks, I do not currently, if we have contacts at the Belfast, I do not. I believe some people in Hinza probably do, but I don't. But London's one of my favorite cities, and I hope to get there again relatively soon, and that will be one of the first places I go. Again, I was right there. Great example. I was right there in London, and right before I started working at the Naval Park, and I did not visit the Belfast. I was busy looking at the Roman archaeology. So there it is. I was going around the London Wall and going to the London Museum and reading about London, the development of London, especially with the Romans. Of course, there were settlements there beforehand. The really way back London Bridge. So I spent my time on land. I saw the Belfast, but I was like, no, I'm going to continue to do London prehistory stuff and see those areas where you dig down 50 feet and there's a wall from 2,000 years ago. So, but it's on my first to-do list when I go back to London again. Park Stevenson was in Belfast this weekend. Oh, that's nice. Belfast is a beautiful city. My dad has gone there quite a bit. And he says it's his favorite city in Europe so far. So I have not been to Belfast. Giant's Causeway, all of that. So the graffiti in Belfast, I hear, is amazing. And I mean, there's like murals and stuff on the walls. On the walls. I was going to say bulkheads. Lucas, I'll be studying and visit Belfast before. Incredibly interested in learning about the history of Londinium. Yes, you got it. That's right. Thank you. Although when I did go to London, one of my other favorite things was visiting the Churchill bunker. All right. Part of the Imperial War Museum, which the Belfast is a part of as well. If you make it to the bunker, that is a fabulous tour. I would love to mimic it on board a ship, but just the architecture just doesn't allow for it. But that is amazing. I think they say they shut the doors after the war and they didn't touch it for 35 years. And then when they opened it, you know, the pencils were still in the same spot. The cigarettes were still in the ashtrays. So yeah, that was a fabulous tour. I really enjoyed that. No, we've never talked to the Velos, and we've had multiple people. Thank you, Sir Booms a lot. Thank you. Yeah, Sir Booms a lot. I don't know what that was. Forget it. Booze schmooze. No, and I think multiple people have tried to contact the Velos, right? They just had that accident in like October or so because the pier is, well, how do I do that? The pier is here and they are straight out into the water. They're not starboard or port, right? They're butt out, bow out. And so I think it was bumping against the pier and on the transom and the stern, they had some damage. But no, we have reached out multiple times to the Velos, just have not been successful. Greg, yeah, you'd knock yourself out. Even I'm like 5'8.5", 5'9", and I've banged my head more than once. And if you watch that video of me in the motor room, okay, and if you see it, I seem a little lethargic. That's because I was up on the main platform there talking about the engines. And as I was going down to the motor room, I banged my head pretty hard and it was bothering me that whole video. So I think I was pretty lethargic, just pretty low energy. And it was just, wah, 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 you know, so the bunker was amazing. Absolutely, Lucas. Yes, the USS Charette celebrated. We did the celebration of the 80th anniversary with the three others that are surviving today in America. And building a connection with parks has been so great. And really, I had to throw it out to Ken and History X as well. He and I got together probably a year and a half ago now and said, hey, let's do a museum ship mafia and bring other ships and things in. And so he was really the impetus for that. And I helped him build the contacts while he had the idea and was formulating everything. So yeah, this museum ship mafia has been really enjoyable. And other people have commented, it seems as though you guys are coordinating more, things like that. You know, so I've had a few of those comments, and that's kind of what we'd like to say is one of the reasons why just this YouTube in general has brought a lot of the Hinza vessels together. So, whew. Let's see what else. Thank you, Robert. I see any World War II history not like myself can assist you guys with. Well, we could always use help. We do have an online form for volunteer, and then we have the different sections, whether it's artifacts collections, education, maintenance, office work. So you can fill out one of those forms, and one of our staff people will get back to you. The one of the department that you express interest in, and then they would work with you individually. So we can use everything: painting and chipping, welding, just general repairs, collections work. I have a great group of individuals, volunteers that help me in the collections, and education. You know, there's a lot of programming that Stephen does, things like that. So, Lucas, time for a refill. Thank you, Eric. Kind of is. I'm not that big of a drinker, guys. I probably have one drink a month, something like that. So if I do two, plus I'd have to leave the screen, which is, I guess, all right. But here's to everybody. Museum ships that recommend visiting on the West Coast, the Pampanito, the Hornet. Those are the ones that I've seen, whether closely or ancillarily. But you do have, oh my gosh, there's so many in California. The Red Oak Victory, the Jeremiah O'Brien, the USS Iowa, Midway. So I've seen tangentially, been through the Hornet, seen tangentially Pampanito, but there are plenty of others out there. I mean, I think Midway was the one where Tom Cruise landed on the flight deck for not Mission Impossible, the Top Gun, the remake of Top Gun, or the second part 2, I guess. Actually heading to San Diego over spring break to see Midway. Great. Yo, the Queen Mary. Yes. That would be fun. To see the original Queen Mary would be very nice. And then let us know, Sir Booms a lot, if there are any ghost stories, things like that. That's what I hear quite a bit of, that there's a lot of ghosts on board. A lot of people ask me about ghosts on our 3 ships, and I say I've never experienced anything, but some people, I think we hired someone like last year, and their first day they were like, "Oh, I'm feeling all this stuff." So, or sensing, maybe, I guess you'd say. All right, maybe I'll fill up with this is bourbon. Maybe I'll have a little nightcap with a little chocolate Bailey's Irish Cream. So I see that bottle over there too. So maybe I'll have a little swig of that. Great. But 4 years old on Battleship Alabama in 74. Yes. You know what, guys? I've said it before. I absolutely love the USS Alabama. That whole class is fabulous. The ones right before the Iowas, all right? So the Iowas are the glitzy ones, but the South Dakota class and the Alabama, I just love those. I really enjoyed my time on the Alabama, and that was like the first battleship barbette that I saw, and I'm just like, oh my God. Oh my God, you could fit a Carvana elevator in there or whatever it's called. Jeez. Oh, CC. I don't mention Ghost Aboard Iowa. They don't like it because of very true. Thanks, Hoist. And we did have a sailor from Western New York that was killed in the 89 explosion. His first name was Nathaniel. I'm just losing his last name. I apologize about that. But he was killed in the Turret 2 explosion in 89. Okay, North Carolina. All right. The late treaty battleship. Channel membership. CC asked about the channel membership. Thanks for asking. It's $4.99 a month. And usually what happens is I upload like a behind the scenes video. So we have some, I really enjoy interacting with the members. That gives them a little insight into things that the subscribers don't normally see. And carrying on with those behind the scenes videos. So maybe what sometimes happens is I'll do a video for all of the subscribers, and then I do a little follow-up video for the members if there's more information that I find, things like that. So for $4.99 a month, thank you, CC. Yeah, we always had ghost tours and things like that on board. And the thing with that was, they're willing to pay 20 people for, say, from 8:00 at night to 4:00 in the morning. They would pay $2,000, $3,000. We kind of decided as an organization to stop that, like in 2019, 2020. But sometimes, like if there's a small group, they say, "Oh, there's 4 of them. Can we come on board? We'll give you $500 for, until 3 o'clock in the morning. We might do something small like that, especially if it's around like a celebration, like if someone, like a wedding anniversary or a birthday or something like that. I remember reading a few years ago the Queen Mary got a complaint from a Royal Navy. Oh, I do not know that reference, Sir Booms a lot. Thank you. Okay, Teresa asks, "What's your plan for the upcoming year?" Well, it's going to be crazy season as always, Teresa. Um, this year is the 80th anniversary of the Kroer. So last year was the Sullivans. Oh, that reminds me, I should probably get in touch with Paul, and certainly the Kavala and the Cobia. I'm trying to think of all of their commissioning dates. 44. Cod is not. I think she was much earlier, for whatever that means, 43. But certainly the Cobia is celebrating their 80th. And maybe what I should do is try to work with them. Now, we had them on Museum Ship Mafia just this month, Karen Duval from the Cobia, but it would be nice to maybe do a partnership like we did with the Fletchers. So there'll be a little 80th celebration in April for the Kroer. And it is pretty amazing. The first wartime captain, Commander John Elwood Lee, was awarded the Navy Cross for both his first two war patrols on the Kroer. So he had served on an S boat, don't remember the number. Then that was maybe one or two war patrols. Then he was the commander of the Grayling for 7 war patrols. And unfortunately, it went on eternal patrol on its 8th with the new commander. And then he was transferred to the Kroer after his 7 Graylings, and then awarded Navy Cross for both War Patrol number 1 and War Patrol number 2. So we do have an audio interview with him and a lieutenant commander, and that's gives a lot of information about that. So we're he was pretty distinguished, and eventually retired as a rear admiral. I'm sorry. Let's see. Have I ever visited legit Grantham? I'm sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Have I ever visited the Salem? No, I have not. I would love to do that, and then of course circle around with Battleship Cove and another South Dakota, and so I got to make that a trip. One of these things about the job is it's very hard to take time off. There's always a lot going on, but yeah, to visit another like a heavy cruiser, that would be quite interesting, especially with some of the videos that I've done. If you've noticed, one of the things that I struggle with is I struggle with mentioning current museum ships, which is something I'm rather embarrassed about. All right, we had the Joseph P. Kennedy for that Fram one, and I said, didn't even mention them, and I apologized about that. When I talk about Little Rock and light cruisers, and I wonder what other cruisers look like. Well, there's a heavy cruiser just 7.5 hours or whatever down the road. So I have to do a better job. And I think that's one of those things where I do the videos by myself. So I'm trying to get the script. I'm trying to map it out of where I'm going to show the camera, though it sometimes doesn't look like it. Okay, I'll put the camera here, put the camera there on me, there on me, whatever. And so I don't have that prompt in my ear saying, don't forget about this, or you should talk about that. So there are a lot of things where I rewatch a video like on the premiere and I say, oh, darn it. Are we R rated or G rated here? Oh, darn it. I forgot to mention that. It was in the notes. I just skipped it over or something. So I should do a video on that. What does that mean? Teresa, what do you mean? Could any radars be activated for demo purposes? Well, that's the thing. When you have a museum ship like we've been, a museum and naval park we opened in 79. So what does that mean? We're now in 4. 9. So we've been open for 45 years this year. Uh, the radar, the SPS 43 and the SPS on Little Rock and the SPS 10 and 6 rotated on the Sullivans. So for 25 years, we had the radars rotating. Then people start to die off, and then the crew just gets busy with other things. And people become less willing to go up to those areas on the tripod mast or the main mast. But yeah, for the first 25 years of our existence, all of those radars were rotating. But when you have a park that's this old, things are gonna, we don't see them rotating, so maybe we think they've never rotated. So, oh, Pueblo, yes, that's still on active duty. Is that the one that's in Korea? North Korea was captured, the Pueblo. It would be cool to do one on the Blue Ridge. That's been around since what, 70 or something like that. So uh, I could be wrong about the Pueblo though. I can't remember if just off the top if that's the one that was captured by North Korea and still inactive. What I'm really enjoying is I might want to deep dive into the Northampton. All right, that was like a radar ship. I can't remember its designation. I always talk about that with the SPS-2 radar. The Little Rock and the Northampton were the only ones carrying that super heavy diamond-shaped SPS-2. And they removed them off the Little Rock very quickly because they think I was reading it's about 28 tons, the radar itself. So they needed to put weight elsewhere. And then they added the SPS 30. So I'm really getting into I don't want to mention the Liberty for anything else. Then I'm really enjoying learning about ships like that, like those technical, those general technical ships. The Pueblo, Auxiliary General. Oh man, I'm not going to get that designation. AGER2. But the Northampton's like that too. It was like I was just reading about it 2 days ago, but I can't remember what its classification was. But it seemed as though it was like a research vessel, which I'm really beginning to kind of gravitate towards. I'm enjoying that sort of counterintelligence sort of aspect to it, like a mothership kind of thing, which I find really cool. Yes, it sure was. Thank you. Yes, it was. Yay. It's in Pyongyang. Yes. Yeah, that's right, Hoist. Thank you. And I really like getting to know the guys at the Salem there at the Hinza conference all the time, and they're a blast. So Dan and Steve, forgive me, I haven't seen them. I did not see them in Albany. So I think the last time we saw them was in Hawaii. Out of all the ships that were scrapped, which do you think would have? So what do you think should have been a museum ship? Mine is Enterprise. Yes. Admiral Haley worked very hard to keep the Enterprise, and he was like the spokesman around, traveling around the country for the Enterprise. Well, he was a fleet admiral at the time, but thank you, Rolf. Command like cruiser for the Northampton. I would have loved to have seen one of the Atlanta class on display. The CLAAs, I think, would have been really fabulous to see. Again, you can almost call them like a destroyer leader. Yeah, and one of like a command ship like the Northampton, or like something like the USS Liberty. I think that would have been pretty fabulous to see all of the electronics, and it would have been a wonderful snapshot into that particular era of technology. And they must have had oodles and oodles on board. I mean, sometimes you see those, especially and also in foreign navies with the huge dish, on the main mast and stuff like that. It's just really interesting to me. So maybe like a technical research ship, like that, or a command ship like the Northampton is mentioned. CLC1. You got it, Mike. Thank you. And thank you, Rolf. Enterprise should have been saved, of course. I mean, most decorated ship in World War II. USS Wichita. Light cruiser? Michael? Can't remember. I'd imagine mentioning the Liberty incident is done lightly on Little Rock due to strong opinions. Yes, Sir Booms a lot. That's an interesting thing. I did a video on the USS Liberty, and I read right from the command report. Now we have the command reports, which would be written from the captain, and he's encapsulating the whole year, right? So command report 1967, command report 1968. So I went and I read through the command report from the Liberty incident 67, and I just read it on the video. I just read verbatim what he said, and it's amazing the kind of comments that I got, whatever that means. There's a lot of conspiracy around it, and I understand that, but I just looked at the facts. Israel attacked an American ship. They said it was something. I have no opinion or dog in that fight, I guess, so to speak. But yeah, it's we were the flagship. We steamed to its aid. We sent over corpsmen, and they were carried. The dead and the wounded were, what was it, the USS America or USS Independence? I'm sorry, my brain's overloaded. Sixth Fleet aircraft carrier, Independence or America, was where the dead were stowed, and where our corpsmen went over to assist with the wounded. So we were the flagship at the time. Heavy cruiser, one of a kind. Thank you. I just don't know it offhand. I'm going to have to look it up. So, well, we'll keep this to an hour. Sometimes when we have a guest on, we're going 2.5 hours, and it's like, whoa, yes. Post-war destroyer leader Norfolk was based on the Atlanta stall, and it would have been cool too. Yes, agreed. Other comments, questions? It's been really great. Lend assistance. That's the job. You are offering to lend assistance. Come on down. It's The Price is Right. Thank you, Michael. Chat, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. I'm not sometimes the best at saying that. So that's why Steven embedded something in the middle. So again, can't thank you enough for your support. You guys and gals are such like a great network of people. And I'm so glad that you've enjoyed the channel, this little librarian archivist guy, just doing some exploring, and that you've latched onto it has been really appreciated. Thank you, Teresa. Look forward to having you down, and hopefully you guys can come down again. Don't forget about the eclipse. If you'd want to spend the night, I think we have a Sunday to Monday package, and I think we just expanded maybe a day pass for Monday only, or maybe an overnight from Monday into Tuesday, because they say that you're not even going to be able to get out of the city. So I think a lot of the staff are even going to be sleeping over. I think we're expecting something like 1 million people maybe, which, the county of Erie is 1.1 million people. So if we're doubling that for a weekend, that's a lot. So, what is this? What's this green stuff? Arnold, new member. Arnold Grubbs, thank you so very much. That's so sweet of you. Thank you. And now you have access to all the member videos that we've done already. That's so nice. Thank you so much. All right, guys, we'll keep it to an hour. Remember, yeah. Thanks, guys. And look at you. Everyone's doing that. That's great. Welcome aboard. Yeah. See, tight-knit group. Love it. Great. I'm so glad you guys enjoyed. I enjoy interfacing with you too. And for Pier 70, I'm hopeful tomorrow. Pier 70, Tuesday is kind of up in the air. We got backlogged, so we were doing them a few days in advance, and now we're just right up against the day. So maybe the one I was going to do today, Wednesday, is talking to the executive director from the Perry shipyard. And Thursday, we'll wrap it up with, we'll see. All right. Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. You're very welcome, all of you. And thank you so very much. Pedin, Legit Grantham, Hoist, Arnold, thanks again. Ed, Michael, Cece, Teresa, Eric, and Eric, and Eric, and Eric, and Eric. All right, guys. Have a great night, and we'll see you again soon. And thanks so much. Cece, thank you.